There's been a lot of talk recently about youth voting numbers dropping. Some people, particularly young people, prefer to assert that politicians and political parties do not promote messages or agendas that are relevant to the youth. Others, our parents and their generation, frequently argue that schools do not teach enough civics and that our society does not foster political behavior in young people and others. Our grandparents' generation frequently claims that millennials are selfish and lazy and hence unworthy of the right to vote. In any case, it is this significant contrast that are causing a misunderstanding between young and their political participation. I heard a politician talk to a group of young people a few weeks ago, and one of the things he said that really struck me was that young people don't vote and aren't engaged in politics. Those who do will be the ones who make a difference. From a restricted perspective, I strongly disagree with this remark, but he's correct. At around 37%, you'd have the lowest voter turnout. For individuals under 25 years old with the youth by this metric do not participate or engage in politics. And we've all heard in the accusations that millennials are abandoning politics and that our political behavior is deteriorating. I've even heard some people leave to the point of claiming that this generation will be the end of democracy. These accusations are frequently made in a severe manner. And after hearing these remarks, I did what any self-respected, rebellious adolescent would do. I did what any self-respected rebellious. I set out to disprove their claims. Voting was one of my earliest realizations. Isn't the most interesting way to participate? How exciting is it to check boxes on a ballot, fold it up and place it in the box? Personally, there are several things I would rather be doing, and dare I say, would almost certainly have a greater influence. But don't get me wrong. While voting is an important aspect of our society and we should all vote, it's also crucial to recognize that there are other, more exciting ways to participate. And it is this generation, this connected generation with innovative ideas, some of which we heard about today, that is driving the rebate of politics. As a result, about 60% of young people engage in non-voting political conduct. However, compare that to 38% or fewer than 38% of individuals under the age of 50. However, when it comes to voting turnout, the numbers are radically different. So what do we include in this non-voting political behavior? Things like political demonstrations, volunteering, social and internet media, or even using the marketplace as a form of political expression through boycotts. The Occupy protests in New York and around the world are a prime example of youth getting involved. And the last Canadian election, the federal election, not the one that just happened yesterday, was marked by flash mob videos featuring students from throughout the country banding together to encourage youths to vote. You are adopting a very narrow notion of politics when you accuse millennials of political apathy. This generation my generation and our generation are not abandoning politics, but rather embracing new and innovative kinds of engagement. So why is there a shift in participation? Why is it that engagement is shifting? I explain one reason why traditional political metrics like voting aren't particularly entertaining. But more crucial, youth and politics constantly misjudge each other. Politics appears to have become synonymous with self-serving, limited partisan political conduct among youth, and hence is of little interest to us. In addition, there is a failure to translate the use of activism and engagement into traditional politics. When asked about the student flash mob movies produced during the recent Canadian election, the cabinet minister expressed his displeasure. I'm not sure what a flash mob is, but it sounds a little unsettling, according to John Baird. And to be honest, this division between politicians and the younger voter has been the subject of hundreds of projects over the last 20 years in an attempt to urge millennials to vote. But none have been successful. It was projected that the most recent federal election, which was marked by these flash mob recordings, would finally reverse the downward trend in youth turnout. But this did not happen. And the numbers were as low as they had always been. It is this lack of mutual understanding that stymies these efforts. If the government broadens its concept of political participation, we may see more youth participate in traditional political measures. By a rapid show of hands, polling stations can be found in churches, community centers, and elementary schools. How? For example, how many of you have been in one of the last week? Okay, not includes yesterday's vote. How many of you have been in one in last week? Imagine how many people were on university campuses, retail malls, or even the local coffee shops in the last week. I'm not suggesting we need to lease out every single coffee shop for the next Nigerian election, but what I'm trying to say is that we need to rethink how youth and politics interact. Feeling misunderstood or ignored is not justification for not speaking out. The Lekki toll gate protests, flash mob movies, and Occupy protests are all examples of youngsters leveraging their participation to try to make their voices heard. The good news is that people who participate in some type of alternative political conduct are more likely to vote. So I beg you to get out there and volunteer instead of protesting. Making your voice heard is crucial because rather than being disinterested, youth engagement is just different. So please, let all youth come out in large numbers and vote in this coming election and make our country, Nigeria, great again. Peace out.